much for coming to our first Empower Hour here at Anthem Live Studios. We decided to create this speaker series, and Shantelle is the perfect person to start our Empower Hour. So every month here at Anthem Live Studios, in partnership with Boss Babe Networking, we're actually featuring a special speaker to share her story of resilience, of overcome. We want to give women a voice, and so many people have a story, and we want to be able to provide them the space to share their story, and also have an opportunity to kickstart a speaking career. And so thank you for those who have purchased an RSVP. You are actually supporting our small businesses and our local speaker here. If you didn't get a chance to do so and would like to support, please let us know afterwards. But today we are diving into the topic of motherhood, and this is a very special topic and very near and dear to both myself and Chantelle's heart. And so we are going to dive into empowered motherhood with Shantelle Bridges, an incredible community advocate. I know many of you know her personally, but let's give it up for Shantelle as she inspires us. So,
thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Welcome mothers, welcome moms, welcome mommies, welcome mammies, welcome bums, whatever they happen to call you, welcome in here this morning. Welcome to the biological mothers with the little ones and the grown ones. Welcome to the stepmothers and the mother-in-laws and the adoptive mothers and the foster mothers and just the spiritual mothers. And then my little yet to be a mama in the back that shall be one day in Jesus' name. Welcome to the nurses and the teachers and the chefs and the chauffeurs and the counselors and the disciplinarians. Welcome to the keeper of the secrets and the tellers of the bedtime stories and just the ones that are always there to support the children. Welcome to Empowered Motherhood. I'm excited to have you here today. And no matter what brings you here under the title of mother, because there's really only two things that we completely ever have in common as women and mothers. The rest can be varied. And the first thing we all have in common is that we were brought into this world by a woman.
Yeah.
We were brought into this world by a mama.
Yeah.
And the second thing that we have in common today is that somebody, one somebody, several somebodies, call you mom. And that's kind of where the similarities completely start and stop, because there's so many variations to all of our stories, and so we welcome those today. Those variations go all over the place. Some of you had really great mothers and have really great mothers. And some of you are estranged from your mothers and have had difficult situations around the concept of motherhood. Some of you feel like you did pretty good with your children, or you're doing pretty good with your children, and some of you are struggling with some regrets with your kids. Some of you know what it's like to get an opportunity to raise, guide, and walk alongside of your kids. And some of you might not have gotten that opportunity the way you wanted for various reasons. Interesting, when I looked up the definition of motherhood, it's real simple. It says the state of being a mother. That's it. That's as complicated as it gets. At some point in time, though, you signed up for that. You signed up for it. And what I'd like for you to do is see if this job description that should be posted somewhere, we should have had an opportunity to read this job description before we moved forward. See if it sounds familiar and you can relate to it at all. If you do, smile and nod, but also pay very close attention to your amazing skills. The position: mom, mother, or mama. The job description: long-term team players needed for challenging permanent work in an often chaotic environment. Candidates must possess excellent communication and organizational skills and be willing to work various hours, which include evenings, weekends, and frequent 24-hour shifts. Some overnight travel is required, including trips to primitive camping sites on rainy weekends and endless sports tournaments in faraway cities. I know my mom can identify with that in the back, and my sister. Responsibilities, time period, the rest of your life. Must be willing to be hated, at least temporarily, until someone needs $5. Must be willing to bite your tongue repeatedly. Also must possess the physical stamina of a pack of mules and be able to go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, just in case the screams from the backyard are not someone crying wolf. Must screen phone calls, maintain calendars, and coordinate production of multiple homework projects. Must have the ability to plan and organize social gatherings for clients of all ages and mental states. Must be willing to be indispensable 1 minute and an embarrassment the next. Must always hope the best and be prepared for the worst. Must assume final, complete accountability for the quality of the end product. Possibility for advancement, virtually none. Your job is to remain the same position for years without complaining, constantly restraining, and updating your skills. Previous experience, none required, unfortunately. On-the-job training offered and at a continually exhausting basis. Wages and compensation. Get this, you pay them. Offering frequent raises and bonuses. A balloon payment is due at the end when they turn 18 because of the assumption that college will help them be financially independent. Oh, wait, hold on. And the benefits package. While no health or dental insurance, no pension, no tuition reimbursement, no paid holidays, no stock options offered, this job supplies limitless opportunities for professional growth and personal, as well as love and lots of free hugs. With all of this said, to be honest, ladies, you actually enjoy this job. And you and your children with all of your heart. And actually, you wish you could do more for them on a continual basis. Is that true? Would you have signed up for that? We don't think about the vastness of how we walk out motherhood, what it requires, what we've actually endured if you have older children. What we've actually gone through is quite amazing. We wear so many hats, and that is not new news to anybody that's in this room. We know that. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to do a little sharing. I want you to turn to somebody that you don't know. That means you might have to get up and move because some of you know each other. But here's the deal. I want you to introduce yourself to one person. Tell them how many children. Just maybe say, hey, I'm an adoptive mother, I'm a mother of 5, I'm a mother of 2, I'm a grandmother of, and then share one role that you embody as a mother that brings you the most joy. You got about 3 or 4 minutes. Ready? Go.
Okay, so I'm Tanya Kent. I have 4 kids. I have 10 grandchildren, and I have 1 great-grand. And I actually have a whole bunch of children because I've raised some stepchildren. Go ahead.
Okay.
What did you say? One thing about it?
And one role that you actually is the fact that we are still tight-knit. That brings me joy that we can call on one another and we can talk to one another.
Hey, Emerald, tell me your answer.
That's so crazy. Well, she said 2 people. I mean, okay, I have 2 kids. I'm a grandma. And then, what role do I like to play? I like to play the role of being there. That's not probably an official role, but I like listening to my children. So when my son comes over and he feel like he needs a therapy session, I'm able to be there to be that therapist for him.
They did a lot for me too.
Hope that helps.
It's so hard. So when God gave me my husband, he was like talking about children. When we started dating, I'm like, I said,
The role brings to and then they went to school of commerce. Okay. Yeah. They went to school of commerce.
All right, let's take our seats. Back again, great conversation. I love that as mothers, when we have an opportunity to just share about our journey and our children, sometimes it doesn't even matter if you don't know someone. It's just that common space that we get to dwell in that is an encouragement. I can think of so many, and I'm sure you can too, moments that defined your motherhood. Now, if you're like me, I have 4 children, and the oldest is 37, and thank you so much, I appreciate it. The oldest is 37, and the youngest is, how old are you, 22? 22. You get to start forgetting after a while after that thing. But as I was reflecting on this, I thought, do I have a time and a moment where I really did understand the gravity, the significance, the empowerment, the impact, the significance being how important we are to our children in the next generation. And I started thinking about all the moments. Because I've been so many moms, and so many of you have been as well. I've been a teen mom. I've been a mother raising children to a deployed husband overseas and in the United States, all by myself. I've been a mom that lost a child. Didn't get an opportunity to bring him home from the hospital. I've been a woman that has experienced divorce and walked children through that very devastating journey, and figuring out how to uphold them and be who they needed me to be during that time. I've had an opportunity to be a single mom, one that really struggled with poverty sometimes, and figuring out how to have this array of emotions and yet focus on the well-being of the people I loved so much. And then recently, in the last 2.5 years, I've had the honor of being a stepmother. I got a bonus daughter on top of my kiddos. And so when I think about all of those, I thought, do I have a moment that kind of encapsulates motherhood to me? And I do. It was 1994. I had a 6-year-old son at the time and a daughter that wasn't quite 1.5. I was living in Texas at the time, and we had joined a church called Jesus Chapel. And anybody that knows anything about me, I was active in the church as usual. I always been. It's my mother's fault back there that I've always been involved in that way. And Jesus Chapel was an interesting building. It was downtown El Paso, Texas. And so it was one of those buildings where you had 2 separate buildings, and they built this courtyard built with these beautiful high wall wrought iron that linked one building to the next. So when you went out, you went through the courtyard and you went to the second one. So this particular time, this particular day, we're working Vacation Bible School, and it was a nighttime Vacation Bible School, and I was working childcare. And so had my 2 little ones with me, and this particular night, it was just wild in my room. And so everybody got dismissed, and I'm taking a little extra time to clean up because I got this 1-year-old that I've picked up now who has a blown out diaper that I've got to go take care of. I've got to clean up my room. My 6-year-old decides he needs to go to the bathroom and he's lost something, and it just seemed like it takes us an eternity to get out of there. So we finally get all packed up. I'm by myself, and at this particular time, my then husband was deployed, so it's just me. So we head out the door, and we go out into the courtyard. I head to the door because one building was all classrooms. The next building was the sanctuary, and you had to go through the sanctuary to get out. Well, I come into the courtyard, and I go to open the door to the next building, and it's locked. So I can see into the church a little bit, and I kind of take it in, and it's dark. So I go and I look kind of out the parking lot, because again, this is a wrought iron and encamped there, and so I can see the parking lot, and there's no cars there. No one recognized I was still in the building, and we are now locked in the courtyard with my 1-year-old and my 6-year-old. It's at that point, as I look back, that when I think about defining moments in my motherhood, it all showed up that night. And there are 5 things that I recognize from that story that I want to share with you today. So, just picture it for a second. I can see your faces as I'm telling the story. We're stuck. I'm taking it in. And the first thing, now mind you, I will say, because some of y'all know what it's like to be this person, I'm hot with these kids, even though they're all right, they done made me late, I had to change a diaper, I am tired, I'm all by myself. One of them's crying, I mean, it's the perfect storm. And out I walk. I take assessment of the situation. And as soon as I realize the reality of the situation we're in, the fact that I was upset with these kids gets erased immediately. And the reason why is that point number 1 is a mother's love. There's nothing like it. Short of God's love, which is the essence of everything. There's nothing like it. The unconditional love of a mother is profound. Our ability to switch from here to here, just that quick, we're the only being on the planet that has the opportunity to do it. And we do it with grace, and we do it with resilience. Very, very powerful. Our children's safety, my children's safety and comfort in that moment became the key thing. A mother's love forms this unbreakable bond that nurtures and sustains her children throughout their life challenges. What's interesting about this moment is we're all stuck. But who do you think was my most important focus when it came to who was stuck? It wasn't me. It was them. And it was what was going to happen next. A mother's love is powerful. Everyone in this room, regardless of your story, your love, your unconditional love, although imperfect, although sometimes we're shouting and yelling that love just a little bit, it is the profound sustainer of our children's lives. And I congratulate you, knowing all of you in this room, to at least a certain extent. I congratulate you for how well you've walked that out through your situations and your circumstances, through tough times, through having resources, through not having resources, through having know-how and not having know-how. You've still walked out that love. And I commend you for that. And I encourage you that that's also your sustaining factor with your children. we lead with love innately. It just happens. We don't have to tell ourselves, I need to love this. Well, every now and again, you do need to look at a kid and think, I need to keep loving this kid. There's gonna be moments that happens. I know I did that for my mom. I know she had to speak it out of her mouth over and over again. But just leading in that space, reminding yourself, I love this kid. And as I'm standing in that courtyard, one on this hand and one on a hip, their safety and their comfort and my love for them became my primary focus. The second thing that was very profound in that particular moment that we can all resonate with is a mother's protection. A mother's protection. Because that was what came next. Once I surveyed the situation and I moved around just a little bit, assessed it, my protective instinct kicked in. Isn't it interesting as a mom, you don't have to tell that to kick in, it just kicks in immediately. It could be 5 words that your kid says to you real quickly, and all of a sudden that protective nature kicks in. And I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons it really kicked in. I'm standing at the door that I've tried to open. I'm doing this looking around. I have this 6, almost 7-year-old, so he's pretty sharp. To me, he says, Mama, open the door, Mama. Mama, 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 open the door. Where are the people, Mama? Pull the door harder, Mama. What's going on? Mama, where is everybody? Mama, what are we gonna do, Mama? In that moment, we've all been faced with that. Whether they've asked or circumstances have just presented itself. What are we gonna do, Mama? Come on, Mama. Move forward, fix it. Mama, keep moving. Mama. And so there I was, thinking, what am I gonna do? Because at that point, I know we're stuck. The walls are too high. There's no additional doors. There's no width in between those bars for me to get through. We're stuck. In this life as mama. Can anybody relate? You can't look down at them and go, well, I don't know what we're gonna do. We don't do that as mom. We kicked in, and I'm starting to think, as you know, as mothers, sometimes our minds are racing 100 miles an hour. This is El Paso, Texas. It's dry. It's June. It's probably 90 degrees right now in the shade. I'm looking at the benches and I'm looking at the different things because I'm beginning to entertain the thought that we will be there until somebody comes in the morning. That protection is not just about them physically. My son is emotionally distraught in this moment. And as mothers, one of the hardest things is sometimes we can do something about the physical stuff. But we can't always do something about the emotional stuff. And everybody in this room has walked out at least 10 dozen physical things and probably 20 emotional things. Where, like I said, whether they're speaking it or just personifying it, what do I do, Mama? Because isn't it amazing? No matter how independent they get, I pick up the phone. 719-964-7121. That's that chick right back there. And I go, what do I do, Mama? What do I do? I got this and that. And I'm not going to speak for her, but I have 4 of my own, and I know that when she hangs up that phone, sometimes she's thinking, I don't know what you're going to do. But I know that because of a mother's love and a mother's protection, Mama's going to be in it somehow. We're going to be in it somehow, aren't we? Yes. We may not know, but we're going to be in it somehow. is what we do. That is what we do. A mother's protection ensures her children feel safe and secure, both physically and emotionally, enabling them to navigate the world with confidence. Even sometimes when I'm in a tough spot, if my mama says, we gonna work it out, I know that somehow we're gonna work it out. I don't know. So I look down at this little 6-year-old boy, and of course this 1-year-old doesn't know what's going on. She's just having a fit because she's sleepy. So I'm just trying to keep her together. And I look and I say, it's gonna be all right, baby. Just give me just a second. Just give mama just a minute. You know, it's all right, don't be scared. We'll get out. I don't know any of this for sure. But don't we do that?
Yes.
As mothers, we have to speak what we know. We have to speak truth. We weren't going to be there forever. I didn't tell them we were going to get out. I didn't know when we were going to get out, but I knew that eventually we were going to get out. But I'm now high on my protective nature. And I'd like to commend each one of you and congratulate you, regardless of how you think you have done with your children. There's 2 things I know for sure. And that's you love them, and that protective instinct is one of the reasons why they are who they are today. Because I know that is my story. When I think about protective nature, I also think about the fact that innately we do it from the very beginning. Think about when the little one starts walking. What's the first thing you do? You baby-proof the house. You start putting up gates. You start doing all of the things to make sure they're going to be okay. You lock cabinets. You take things off that might detach. You do all that. Then they get a little bit older, and you do similar things. They just look a little bit different. Because we sometimes have to adult-proof the life for our children, just like we have to baby-proof the life for our children. Don't shake your head. My daughter's shaking her head. Like, she can't be talking about me. We do that because that sense of security for our children is essential. The third thing, we love them, we protect them. And the third thing is a mother's wisdom.
Yes.
And next to my notes, I put the solution finders. In the stillness of that night, I knew I had to find a solution. My son's holding my hand. I got my baby girl in my arms. Something's got to happen. I know we all have had moments, like I said, where we think something's got to happen. I just don't know how. That's what our children look to us for, though. What are we going to do, Mama? They look to us for wisdom. And I'm telling you, if I had to be left behind on this earth with anybody, it would be a gang of women. Because we can figure it out. God has given us this innate sense of wisdom to know even when we don't know. Even when we don't know, we just start stirring some stuff up. So again, I'm surveying. And at this point, like I said, I'm starting to think, okay, we're going to have to stay here. So what does that look like? Does that look like where we're going to sit? Am I going to lay people down? What conversation am I going to have with my son to make sure that he's okay with the fact that he knows we're supposed to be leaving, but we can't leave out of this space? Women are the solution finders. A mother's wisdom guides children through the complexities of this life. It's how they know how to get through. From the time that they're little and they're learning how to walk, because that's the complexity of life in that moment, to elementary school, learning how to navigate relationships and friendships. They come home from school and they say, so-and-so said this to me. And what do? You give them a piece of wisdom as far as how to navigate that relationship. You give them a piece of wisdom about what to do when they're struggling with math. You give them a piece of wisdom. And then they get a little bit older. and they're saying, Mom, I want to marry this person. You give them a piece of wisdom about marriage. Mama, should I buy this house or should I not buy this house? You give them a piece of wisdom about finances. You are constant, either thinking about or speaking wisdom into your children. Even when sometimes you don't know. I know I've said that 3 times because we got to capitalize on the fact that there's nothing to rejoice about in having all the answers. It's just that our children look to us for those particular solutions, and we are the people that I believe God divinely uses to pour wisdom in and to pour that out to our children. I commend you and encourage you. That's your place. Don't question it, even when you don't know what it is. I did not know in that moment. But what I did know is I'm the older, smarter, wiser one in this equation. And that's how life is sometimes. You're just holding on to your kids going, well, I don't know, but I am the older, wiser one in this equation. Know that about yourself. Know that no matter what the world is saying to you, you have been divinely assigned to that child. And it is the wisdom that is pouring through you that is for that child, not anybody else's. Now, one of the things I will say that women are really good at, I learned this from my mom, when you don't know, you find somebody who does. You talk to somebody else. You exist in relationship, ladies, so that somebody that's gone before you knows the next thing to tell you. There's nothing worse, like me in that moment, being alone. I didn't have anybody else to ask. I didn't have anybody to consult, to problem solve with. And that's difficult. So in motherhood, I'm blessed to still have my mother with me. So I do that wisdom thing with her. I do it with some of you. I do it with my friends. I commend you for your wisdom, no matter how much you question it. It is and shall be exactly what your children need. And when you feel like you fall short, find someone else to partner with and grab that wisdom. For those of you that are still raising littles, and I have a new little in my life, I thought I was all finished, and then I got an 8-year-old. But I got a chance to practice it a little bit differently. I worry a little less, pray a little more, and move through that space, because you don't know what you don't know when you're going the first time through. You just don't know what you don't know. And I've also learned the value of the wisdom of other mothers. The wisdom of mothers. Our wisdom equips our children with the tools they need to face challenges and make informed decisions. They do what we do. Remember that. They do what we do. I love when I'm listening to my friend Shaquan when she's talking about how her children encourage her. The things that they speak to her. The ways that they're aware. They're like my 6-year-old. He knew we were in trouble. But I love when I hear her talk about how they speak back to her. And it's because they just do what you do. They're just mimicking you is what they're doing. And that is where that mother's wisdom comes from. My daughter is going to pass out some sticky notes. And what I want you to do, and I'm going to ask Kristen for a place that maybe we can, do you have like a whiteboard?
A big one inside the conference room.
Okay. We're going to find a place to put these so that we can take picture. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to get 1 or 2 sticky notes. And in the mindset of wisdom, I want you to write down 1 or 2 wise things that you have said to your children. It can be anything. You've said, there you go, we'll stick them up there. And that way we can everybody can take a picture of what they say. Write down 1 thing, or 1 thing that you find yourself constantly saying. Or this is the wisest thing I think I have told my children through the years. Come up with one or two. If you've got two good ones, give us one or two, because we're gonna post these up here. I want you to get up when you have, when you're finished writing. Write it big enough so that when we people take a picture of it, because I want you to share. I want you to share. I'm gonna ask you in just a moment to share a couple of you what you've written down.
What was the prompt again?
Yeah.
So the prompt is thinking in the mindset of wisdom.
Okay.
What's one or two things, wise things that you have said to your children throughout the years?
Ooh.
Yes. So think of one or two things and write it down. It could be something as simple as always listen to your mama. So just think of one of two things. Pieces of wisdom, pearls of wisdom. Pearls of wisdom. From wise women. About 10 more seconds, and then I'll have a few of you share, since we do have such a plethora of wise women in here today.
They're wise.
What's that?
She says, I don't know if they're wise, but this is what I said. I said they are wise.
All right, I'm just gonna randomly, we're gonna put them up here in just a second, but let's just share for a second. There's few enough of us in here that you can just kind of spout it out. We'll start over here on the couch.
I'm not saying that one.
Okay, what you got?
I'll do this one. Feelings are like poop. You have to get it out or you won't feel well or good. So
That's a good one. Tell those kids to get those feelings out. Go.
Just that I know that they're intelligent and their thoughts matter, so I also want to learn from them.
So good. I like that. That's good. Yes.
God made only one of you in this entire world, so you're good. You're perfectly made.
Amen. That's good. I like that.
Believe in yourself and never say I can't.
That's good.
The two of you be friends. You will know one another your entire life.
Yes. That's good. To siblings?
Yep.
That's good. That's good. Yes. Miss BJ.
I will never stop praying for you.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And, yeah. And then another one, I love you. Number one. That's number one. I love you.
Wise
And
to
I will
just-
never stop praying for you.
That's good. I like it.
I have two. Have you prayed about it? And then you would not have started it had you not had a vision for it.
That's good. That's good. That's definitely be applicable when you have adult children.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, those are good. These are good. Jennifer.
I always say pray your way through, and we always say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah.
Pray your way through.
Yeah. That's good.
That's good.
Actually, it's been since they can talk, so have you pray to God, because we teach that in our home. So when they got problems, I ask them, have you prayed to God first, and then I'm the next person they talk to.
That's good. That's right. Teach the proper order, right?
I tell my daughter, no matter what, like, you walk with the Lord. No matter what.
No matter what.
Everything else. Just walk with Him.
Told you there was wise women in here.
I have two. One is, there's nothing you can do that I won't love you. And that's so important when they come to you and they've done wrong.
Right.
That I have the door open that they can tell me anything. The other one is, God has a plan for your life. He has given you a special gift. Walk in it.
That's good. I can attest to the fact that she's telling the truth.
Yes.
Want to get that chair over there? Or, yeah, Liz. Welcome. So true. So come up, watch the camera. put them up here and kind of put them close. And then if you want to bring your phone, once they're, oh, who didn't go? She didn't go. Oh, that's right, and Lolita, I'm sorry. Okay, everybody, hold still for a second. Yes, I'm sorry. Kristen. Yours.
Two things that I tell Sharp Gang is hurt people. And the other one is don't listen to others' opinions of you.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Lolita.
I tell them always make wise choices and keep the faith no matter the situation.
That's good. All good. Let's stick them together. If you want to bring your phone once they're all up there, just in case someone has said one, or just to even reinforce that there's several other wise women that are saying the same types of things to their children that you are. So let's use just that bottom square. Just that bottom square. Just throw them all in there so people, yep. And that way people can kind of take one shot of several.
I took the clear one off.
Kind of push them all in there together so someone can just take their phone and take a shot of all of them. Stick them all in there. We got a couple more. While you're up, please feel free to get some more food. The chicken salad was awesome. There's some quiche back there. Get some fruit. While we're up for just a second, get yourself some water. And we're going to keep on going. And those will be up there if you want to take a picture of them afterwards too. Get closer. Women, that's just a picture of two things. When you're in the company of wise women, you're going to be able to hear things that you might not have thought about, things that you can begin to say to your children that you may not have thought about saying. And then also it reinforces. You'll also hear some of the same things you say. Because this world has gotten to be a real difficult place. It's loud out here. Everyone's shouting suggestions, solutions, ideals, concepts. All of those things are being shouted at you. And the wisdom from within, and as many of you have said, the wisdom of God, the wisdom of other women, being able to partner together and know how to move forward. And I love that. So before you leave, definitely take a picture of that. The fourth thing in this scenario, so of course I know that I love these kids and you love your kids. I know that my protective instinct has kicked in as yours does with your children. I know that my wisdom, especially in this particular case, trumps everybody's. I don't care how many people are around you. Your wisdom for them as a mother trumps everybody's but God's. That's just the way it is. It's when we start to question that is a challenge. But the fourth thing that was very, very evident to me in that scenario is a mother's sacrifice. A mother's selflessness in that moment. Now I will say, I can't tell you, I've been scared a lot in my life. Many of us have been scared of a lot of things. I can't tell you that one compares real well to that instance of being trapped, of being stuck, of not having a solution, worried about the well-being of me and my children. I can't tell you that there's a moment that compares to that one really well. And one of the things about me is that when I get scared, when I get overwhelmed, I cry. But I got a 6-year-old on my left and a baby in my arm. And just like some of you know, my emotions, my feelings, my needs took second. Because a mother sacrifice says not me first, them first. We do it every day, all the time. When you listen to that job description, it's every day, it's all the time. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. Okay? Self-care is important. I'm not saying don't take care of yourself. I'm talking about the innate instinct that runs within a woman to sacrifice on behalf of her child. We do it all the time. When they're little, we sacrifice sleep. We sacrifice time. How many of us stayed up all night long with that kid and then went to work the next morning? We did it. We sacrifice our resources. We'll buy something for them before we'll buy it for us if we're limited on resources. We give them everything we've got in front of our own needs. It is just the innate thing that we do. Mothers deny their needs, their emotions for their children. And again, not saying that in a negative sense. Just saying that's the trait. Shake your head if you can identify with that. You know that's true. And in the right context, it's right. It's what mothers do. And it's the reason why oftentimes our children feel as solid and secure as they do. How many times did I know my mom didn't quite, or my dad didn't quite have those resources? But I knew they'd make it happen for me. And not even in a manipulative way, just in a truthful way. I know that what I need, sometimes even what I want, supersedes them. I think about my own children. You know, now I'm a different kind of mom. It's a different generation. If you're taking my last $20, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna take it. Will I not? I will. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you, but this is all I got. It's a different kind of sacrifice. I need them to know, you know, because sometimes a truth about mothers is our sacrifice is often overlooked. Nobody notices it but us and God. Nobody even knows. So I just, you know, sometimes I just need to make sure they're aware of what the sacrifice is. I think it's good for them. But it's what we do. We deny ourselves. And so in that particular situation, it couldn't be about how I felt about it. I wanted to go to the gate and scream a couple of times to try to see if anybody would hear me. But I knew that if I did that, it would startle my children. So that wasn't going to be the way. I really needed them not to feel like we were in grave danger. And I commend you as mothers in this room. Because I could tell you beyond the shadow of a doubt, there have been times you wanted to cry and you didn't. There are times you wanted to scream and you didn't. There were times you wanted to hold on to it, your time, your sleep, your resources, whatever the thing was, and you gave it up. Freely, without even thinking about it. My mother says something powerful. She said, there's nothing greater than I'd like to do with my resources than give it to my children. That's what she says. She says, whatever I have, there's nothing greater, there's nothing I can think of that I want more than to give what I have to my children. She has said it as long as I can remember, and my sister can tell you back there that that's the truth. And she lived that. You live it. You may not have said it, but you live it. So I commend you today. As the world tries to say you're not doing enough, as the world say you messed it up, they're grown now. You should have done it differently when they were little. Nobody can take the love away. Nobody can take the protective instinct away. Nobody can take the wisdom away. And nobody can touch your sacrifice. Nobody can tell you that it should have been more or it should have been less. Be proud of what you have given your children. Because no matter your journey, and I look at all the different moms I've been, I can see those 4 things. I can see it today, I can see it back then. I know many of you, and I can put my finger on all 4 so far. That you do that continually. Unnoticed, unspoken, deep commitment. Your sacrifice is profound. We love, we protect. We're wise, we sacrifice. And the last one is a mother's heart. And different from some of the things I've mentioned, you're thinking, well, how's that differ, Shantelle? Because, the love, the protection, how's that different? That is a mother's heart. What I mean by a mother's heart is, first of all, a mother's heart is the emotional core of her family. It is the emotional core of her family and the lives of her children. I'm here to make sure that they know God loves them. I'm here to make sure, what is it that is within you? We have dreams for our kids. There's ways that we want them to navigate this world, and sometimes that's part of the heartbreak, is that we pour that out and they don't own it. But there's a promise I'll talk about in just a minute. But there's that deep-seated thing inside of us that says, I want this for you. And that comes from a mother's heart. People ask me about my children often, and you know them, they're pretty amazing, and I'm very biased. Extremely biased. They are 4 of my favorite people on the planet. And one of the things I always said, I said, if I didn't do but 2 things, I wanted them to love and know God, and I wanted them to love and know each other. That when I was gone, they would each have 3 people that would have their back for a lifetime. So when people see my children, they are profoundly dismayed about how well they get along. Especially 3 girls. My 3 girls are moving into a house together, and I said that to somebody the other day. And I said that to somebody the other day, and they went, ooh, all 3 sisters? Because some of us don't necessarily have sisters that we might want to share space with. Some of us didn't grow up with sisters and having that relationship. These chicks are solid together. But I prayed that. I massaged that in them. I talked to God about that for them. I talked to them about that with each other. And I'd say probably about 7 or 8 minutes later, I hear something. I see a car go by. And then all of a sudden, I hear somebody say, hello? So then I wait, and I say hello back. And somebody actually comes through that sanctuary building. I see the lights to the building come on, and I see somebody come out and opens a door, and a guy says, oh my gosh. He said, I got all the way home. Wow. And a voice inside of me said, you didn't go back and check that building.
Come on now.
And he turned around and came back. He came back. And I was able to look at that 6-year-old while I'm bouncing that 1-year-old on the side. And say, see, Jesus heard us. He heard our prayer. Mama told you. I told you that it was going to be okay. I told you that we were going to be all right. And we walked out. And from that day forward, I have known that I can have all the love in the world, and I do. that I can protect to the best of my physical, mental, and emotional ability. That I can be as wise as me and my friends can be. That I can sacrifice as much as I think. Because guess what? When I give my last $20, if it's my last $20 and they need another $20, then there's still a problem that I can't fix. But because of my heart and who lives in it and what is important to me, I am blessed that my 4 children walk with the Lord. And that was my goal. And from that moment on, I knew that I was going to teach those babies how to get out of a stuck predicament. It's the same way we get out. It's not just about our kids, it's the same way we get out. And I wanted to live a life that modeled that. It took me about 20 minutes to get there, because sometimes it takes us a couple minutes to get there. Sometimes it takes us a couple years to get there. To where we're able to take that child and go, this is how we're going to navigate through. So I honor you. I honor you for the cultural and family values and traditions that you've poured out of your heart to your children. I have a legacy a mile long in my family. The things that my mother and father have intentionally poured from their heart into us has made me, made the next generation and the next generation. We are changed because of it. I commend you for your moral and ethical foundation. In today's world, it is hard to tell kids what's right because the world is telling them what's wrong. Yes. And the world's also telling them what's wrong with your right. Yes. That part. Mm-hmm. And we still have to do it. We still have to dig down deep for what it is that we have and move forward. I commend you for the dreams and the aspirations you have for your kids. And you haven't lost the opportunity to pour those into them. I commend you for your heart. You are seen and you are recognized. And I want to just simply say, don't stop.